question that I get frequently, and people have a hard time understanding market cap in crypto. In the stock market, there's an order book. There's people that have invested money in a corporation. There's however many outstanding shares in a corporation, and that trades at a value to the earnings or the EBITDA. There's a lot of different ways you can value a corporation, but it trades at a multiple of that. Most corporations, if they're just, less than 5 million in revenue and they're in a standard industry, you're normally going to get like a sometimes less than one multiple, depending on what it is, but sometimes up to a 2 or 3 on the multiple. So you would take the EBITDA or the earnings before tax, interest, depreciation, and amortization, and you would multiply that by whatever is common in the industry. If it has a tech component or some other reoccurring revenue or different components, maybe you get a higher multiple. But most of the time, it's going to be somewhere between 2 and 3. And that's just kind of depreciating cash flows over the next 5 years. And that's kind of how they come to the valuation on a corporation. When you get to the stock market, it's interesting. The higher the EBITDA goes, the more multiples you get most of the time. So I'll break it down a little bit more simply. I'll give you an example. Let's say I'm going to issue Jake token. These are not shares in a corporation. This is an ICO. Okay. I'm going to go to market. I mint 1 billion Jake token and I get it listed on Binance. There's some depth in the order book and there's some trades at around $1. What is the market cap of Jake token? Let's say there's 10 trades at $1. Well, if you did the math, that's $1 billion market cap, but there was only $10 traded into Jake token and they all bought for $1. So the total amount of money that's moving into an asset is completely different than the market cap of what it's showing, because it's just total outstanding amount times whatever the last trade was. So when people say that you can't have an XRP market cap of 100 trillion or quadrillion dollars, they don't understand supply and demand. They don't understand available supply versus total supply. So let's say you only had 100,000 XRP available on exchanges for purchase, and people were willing to pay $1,000 or $2,000 for an XRP because they need it, and the value that they're going to get from the token inside their business is 5 or 10x that. They're going to be able to save enough money by using it to settle that they're willing to pay that premium on that token in order to purchase it. Well, if it's trading at that value because of the supply and demand dynamics that exist in the market cap is irrespective. And these are protocols. These are not businesses, right? So there's not any like traditional way to value these assets. I think that in the future, there's going to be some type of liquidity provision or another metric outside of market cap that you're going to look at to be able to value these networks. So how much liquidity is in the token or can be used in the open market versus, just easy math of how many shares or tokens there are versus the last price it's traded at. And so again, total supply and available supply are two very different things. And then in addition to that, the demand for the token on the open market with very little supply, people would be willing to pay a pretty significant premium